The massive screen in Earth's Defense Command Center lit up with an unexpected message. Admiral Stone stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his gray eyes fixed on the alien text that transformed into English before them. Around him, the command staff held their breath. "Greetings, people of Earth. We are the Galactic Empire, rulers of 10,000 worlds. We come to welcome you into our grand civilization." The message continued to scroll, filled with promises of technology, advancement, and protection. But Admiral Stone didn't smile. 20 years in Earth's defense forces had taught him to look past pretty words. "Play it again," he ordered, his voice firm but quiet. "And show me their historical records they've attached." Director Wells, head of Earth's diplomatic office, stepped forward. She was a tall woman with short white hair who had spent decades studying patterns of civilization. "They're being very generous with information," she said. "Almost too generous." The command center hummed with activity as analysts began sorting through the massive data dump the Empire had provided. Hours turned into days as Earth's best minds studied every detail of the Empire's history. On the third day, Dr. Rivers burst into the command center. The chief scientist's usually neat appearance was disheveled, and he clutched a tablet in his hands. "You need to see this," he said, putting the tablet on the main display. The screen filled with charts, data, and historical records. It showed a clear pattern. Every civilization the Empire had welcomed followed the same path. First came gifts of technology, then trade agreements, followed by resource demands, and finally, complete control. "They've done this 842 times, Dr. Rivers explained, pointing at the data. They find a developing world, offer them advanced technology, and then slowly take over everything. Within 50 years, each world becomes nothing more than a resource factory for the Empire." Admiral Stone's face hardened. "Show me their military capabilities." New images filled the screen. Massive warships, planet-destroying weapons, and armies of soldiers. The Empire clearly expected this display of power to impress or frighten Earth. But something unexpected happened. The Admiral smiled. "They don't know," he said quietly. Director Wells nodded. "They have no idea we've been watching them for the last 300 years. They don't know about our quantum fields or our energy manipulation technology. Or our outposts in other systems," Dr. Rivers added. "They think we're trapped on Earth, just discovering space travel." Admiral Stone walked to the Central Command console and pressed his palm against the scanner. "Send a message to all Earth defense stations, code level Alpha, and prepare our response to the Empire." Throughout the solar system, hidden stations came to life. Quantum field generators powered up, and energy dampeners moved into position. Earth had spent centuries preparing for this moment, all while letting the galaxy think they were alone and primitive. The response they sent to the Empire was simple. "To the Galactic Empire, we have received your message and reviewed your history. The Sol system is hereby declared off-limits to all Empire vessels and personnel. This is not a negotiation. This is a warning." In the Empire's Central Command, Regent Walker read the message and laughed. "They can't be serious," he said to his advisors. "One primitive system dares to ban the Empire." Commander Gray, head of Empire Intelligence, wasn't laughing. "Sir, something feels wrong." Their response shows no fear, no awe at our power. It's almost like they know something we don't. Regent Walker finished, his laughter fading. "Prepare a contact fleet. Nothing too large. We don't want to frighten them. Yet, let's see what these Earthers are really capable of." Back on Earth, Admiral Stone watched the Empire's ships prepare for launch. "And so it begins," he said quietly. "Notify our outposts. If the Empire won't listen to warnings, perhaps they'll listen to actions." The first confrontation between Earth and the Galactic Empire was about to begin. But unlike hundreds of civilizations before them, Earth wasn't playing by the Empire's rules. They were about to learn why humans had spent centuries hiding their true capabilities. The warning had been given. What came next would change the galaxy forever. The Empire's contact fleet moved through space like a school of silverfish. 50 ships, each larger than Earth's biggest city, approached the edge of the Sol system. Their commander, Captain Reed, stood proudly on his bridge. "Send the message again," he ordered. "Remind these Earthers what an honor it is to join the Empire." On Earth, Admiral Stone watched the fleet's approach on the main screen. Around him, the command center remained calm. No alarms rang. No one panicked. Instead, technicians quietly worked at their stations, monitoring the quantum field network that surrounded their solar system. Director Wells walked up beside him. "They sent another message," she said, her voice carrying a hint of amusement. "They're offering us one last chance to welcome them properly." "How kind of them," Admiral Stone replied. He turned to Dr. Rivers, who was checking readings on his tablet. "Are the dampening fields ready?" "All stations report green," Dr. Rivers answered. "The Empire still can't detect them. Their scans show only what we want them to see, a primitive planetary defense system." Admiral Stone nodded and pressed a button on his command console. His voice echoed through Earth's global communication network. "Attention all citizens. The Empire's fleet approaches. Remain calm. This is what we have prepared for." In cities across Earth, people went about their daily lives. Unlike the panic such an arrival might have caused in the past, humans now watched the sky with quiet confidence. Centuries of preparation had led to this moment. In space, Captain Reed's fleet crossed the invisible line that marked the Sol system's border. No signs of defensive systems, his scanner operator reported. "Their satellites are primitive. Their ships are limited to chemical rockets." As expected, Reed said with a smile, "Prepare the demonstration. Show them our." His words cut off as every system on his ship suddenly went dark. Around him, the entire fleet drifted to a stop, their engines silent. "Report," he shouted, but none of his crew could answer. Every piece of Empire technology had simply stopped. On Earth, Admiral Stone allowed himself a small smile. "Send the declaration," he ordered. The message broadcast on every frequency the Empire used. "This is Earth's final warning. Your technology cannot function here without our permission. Your weapons cannot fire. Your engines cannot run. You are in our space now. You have 1 hour to leave using the emergency systems we have graciously left operational. There will not be another warning." In the Empire's fleet, panic began to spread. Captain Reed watched helplessly as his mighty ships floated dead in space. When they tried to scan what was happening, their sensors showed nothing. It was as if their technology had simply forgotten how to work. "Impossible," he whispered. "They're primitives. They can't." His words trailed off as he saw something that chilled him to his core. Small Earth ships appeared, moving without any visible engines. They circled the Empire fleet like wolves around prey. Commander Gray, watching from Empire Intelligence Headquarters, felt a cold sweat form on his forehead. "Regent Walker," he said into his communicator, "I think we severely underestimated Earth." "Nonsense," the Regent replied, but his voice lacked conviction. "No single system could have technology this advanced without us knowing. Unless," Commander Gray said slowly, "they didn't want us to know." On Earth, Admiral Stone watched as the Empire fleet slowly retreated, their ships limping away on emergency power. As they crossed the system boundary, their systems suddenly came back online. Director Wells stood beside him. "They'll be back," she said. "The Empire won't accept this embarrassment." "No," Stone agreed. "But next time, they'll come with their full force. And then they'll learn why Earth has hidden its true power for so long." As the Empire fleet disappeared into deep space, Earth's quantum fields pulsed silently, invisible to all but the most advanced sensors. Humanity had revealed just a fraction of its capabilities, and the galaxy would never be the same. The real war was about to begin. Commander Gray stood in the Empire's secret research facility, surrounded by the best minds in the galaxy. Holograms filled the air around him, showing data from Earth's solar system. His hands trembled slightly as he read the latest reports. "Tell me again what you found in the old records," he said to Professor Green, the Empire's lead researcher. The professor pulled up ancient star charts on the main display. "We've been blind," she said, her voice filled with disbelief. "For 300 years, we thought we were observing Earth. But they were watching us." The room fell silent as she showed them the evidence. Tiny changes in background radiation, slight distortions in space that their sensors had dismissed as natural phenomena. All signs of advanced technology that had been hiding in plain sight. "But how?" Commander Gray asked. "How did they advance so far without us knowing?" Professor Green changed the display to show a timeline. "They took a different path. While we focused on faster-than-light travel and energy weapons, they mastered quantum mechanics and energy manipulation. They didn't try to fight nature's laws. They learned to work with them." In another part of the facility, technical teams studied the recordings from the failed fleet mission. They watched again as Earth's defensive systems shut down their technology without firing a single shot. "It's like they turned off gravity itself," one scientist muttered. "But only for our ships. It's not possible. Unless..." Commander Gray leaned forward. "Unless what?" "Unless they can control the basic forces of the universe itself." On Earth, Admiral Stone received regular updates about the Empire's investigation. Earth's hidden sensors watched every move they made. Dr. Rivers entered the command center with fresh data. "They're starting to understand," he reported. "Their scientists are finally asking the right questions." Admiral Stone nodded. "And their military?" Confused and angry, Director Wells answered, joining them. "They've never failed before. They don't know how to handle it." Across the galaxy, other civilizations watched with growing interest. The mighty Empire, stopped by a single solar system. Impossible. Yet the evidence was clear. In the Empire's royal palace, Regent Walker paced in his private chambers. "Show me everything," he demanded. "Every scan, every record, every piece of data about Earth from the past 1,000 years." His advisors worked frantically, bringing up file after file. But as they dug deeper, they found more disturbing patterns. "Sir," one advisor said hesitantly, "we found something else. Remember those systems where our colonization attempts failed mysteriously, where our ships reported equipment failures?" Regent Walker stopped pacing. "What about them?" "The pattern matches what happened in the Sol system." "Exactly." The realization hit like a physical blow. Earth hadn't just been defending itself. They had been protecting other worlds too. Back in the research facility, Professor Green made another discovery. She rushed to Commander Gray's office, her usual calm completely gone. "Look at these energy readings," she said, displaying a new set of data. "They're not just around Earth. We're finding similar patterns around dozens of developing worlds. Always just strong enough to interfere with our sensors. Always just hidden enough to seem natural." Commander Gray felt a chill run down his spine. "How many worlds?" "At least 50 that we found so far. Maybe more." In Earth's command center, Admiral Stone received the news with a slight smile. "So they finally noticed our guardians," he said quietly. Director Wells nodded. "Should we be worried?" "No," Stone replied. "Let them learn. Let them understand that Earth isn't just another world to conquer. We're the shield that protects the innocent, the wall their empire can't break." As night fell over Earth's cities, citizens looked up at the stars, knowing their world's greatest secret was finally being revealed. They weren't just one planet standing against an empire. They were the silent guardians of countless civilizations, the invisible hand that had shaped galactic politics for centuries. And now, the Empire had to decide what to do about it. The Empire's Grand Council chamber had never been so quiet. 500 representatives from across the galaxy sat in stunned silence as Regent Walker played the latest intelligence reports about Earth. "These humans," he said, his voice echoing through the vast hall, "have mocked us long enough. They think they can tell the Empire where we can and cannot go. Commander Gray watched from his seat, noting how the regent's hands shook slightly despite his confident words. They all knew what was coming. The Empire could not allow this challenge to stand. "I have drafted an ultimatum," Regent Walker announced. "Earth will join the Empire within 7 days, or we will show them the true meaning of power." On Earth, Admiral Stone read the Empire's message with Dr. Rivers and Director Wells beside him. The ultimatum scrolled across their screens. "To the people of Earth, your defiance ends now. Submit to Imperial rule within 7 standard days. Refuse, and face the combined might of 10,000 worlds. No system has ever withstood our full strength. You will not be the first." Director Wells shook her head. "They still don't understand, do they?" "No," Admiral Stone replied. "They don't." He pressed a button on his console. "Activate the full defense grid. Show them what they're really facing." Across the solar system, hidden structures began to emerge. Massive stations appeared from behind quantum veils. Energy platforms shifted into visible space. A web of defensive systems, built over centuries, revealed itself to the Empire's watching sensors. In the Empire's command center, alarms began blaring. Scanner operators stared at their screens in disbelief. "Sir," one called out to Commander Gray, "you need to see this." The displays showed the Sol system transforming. Where their scans had once shown empty space, they now saw technology unlike anything in the Empire's archives. The scale of it was impossible to comprehend. "How?" Commander Gray whispered. "How did they build all this without us knowing?" Professor Green, who had been analyzing the data, looked up from her station. "They didn't build it recently," she said. "Based on the energy signatures, some of these structures are over 500 years old. They've been preparing for this moment for centuries." Earth's response to the ultimatum came an hour later. It was a simple message, broadcast on all frequencies. "To the Galactic Empire, you speak of the might of 10,000 worlds. We have protected 100 worlds from your grasp already. You talk of your full strength. We have yet to show you a fraction of ours. This is not a negotiation. This is not a threat. This is a fact. The Sol system remains off-limits, forever." In the Grand Council chamber, silence fell again as the message played. Representatives looked at each other nervously. For the first time in the Empire's history, they faced an enemy who showed no fear. Regent Walker stood, his face red with rage. "Launch the fleet," he ordered. "Launch everything we have. These humans think they can stand against us. Let them face our true power." But Commander Gray noticed something disturbing. Their scans couldn't penetrate beyond the edge of Earth's revealed defenses. They had no idea what other surprises waited in the darkness. On Earth, Admiral Stone watched the Empire's massive fleet begin to gather. Thousands of ships, forming the largest armada in galactic history. "Are we ready?" Director Wells asked quietly. Stone nodded. "We've been ready for 500 years. Notify all our protected worlds. It's time they knew who's been watching over them." Dr. Rivers checked the quantum field readings one last time. "The Empire's about to learn why we kept ourselves hidden for so long. Not out of fear, but out of mercy," Stone finished. As the sun set over Earth's cities, citizens went about their lives calmly. They had trained for this, prepared for this, known this day would come. The Empire thought they were forcing Earth's hand. But Earth had been holding the cards all along. 10,000 Empire ships filled the space near Jupiter's orbit. Their weapons charged, their shields at maximum power. Regent Walker stood on the bridge of his flagship, wearing his finest battle uniform. "This is the largest fleet ever assembled," he announced to all ships. "Today, we remind the galaxy why we rule the stars." Commander Gray watched from a support vessel, his face grim. Something about Earth's calm worried him. No one faced such overwhelming force without fear. Unless... "Sir," a sensor operator shouted. Energy spike from Earth's defense grid. On Earth, Admiral Stone gave the order they had practiced for centuries. "Activate the quantum web," he said calmly. "Show them what humanity has been working on while they conquered easier targets." Dr. Rivers pressed his hand against the main control panel. Around the solar system, invisible fields of energy began to pulse. Each of Earth's hidden stations activated in sequence, creating a web of pure energy that spread through space itself. The Empire fleet started their advance. Their first wave, 1,000 ships strong, crossed the invisible line that marked Earth's defense zone. That's when everything changed. First, their engines died. Then their weapons fell silent. Finally, their artificial gravity failed. 10,000 of the most advanced ships in the galaxy turned into powerless chunks of metal, floating helplessly in space. "What's happening?" Regent Walker screamed, watching his mighty fleet drift uselessly. "Where are their weapons? Where is their attack?" Commander Gray understood first. "They don't need weapons," he said quietly. "They control the fundamental forces of space itself. Our technology only works because they allow it to work." Around the fleet, Earth's smaller ships appeared. They moved without engines, guided by forces the Empire couldn't understand. Golden beams of light touched each disabled Empire vessel, and one by one, their emergency power systems came online. Admiral Stone's voice echoed through every Empire ship. "Your vessels have been disabled. We are restoring minimal power so you can return home. Let this serve as your final lesson. Earth is not your prize to claim. We are not your subjects to rule. We are your awakening to a larger universe." On the support ships still outside the defense zone, Empire scientists worked frantically to understand what was happening. Professor Green stared at her readings in awe. "This isn't just advanced technology," she reported. "They've mastered sciences we haven't even discovered yet. Our most powerful weapons mean nothing to them." The battle, if it could even be called that, lasted less than an hour. Not a single shot was fired. Not one life was lost. Earth had defeated the greatest armada in history without violence, showing a level of power that seemed impossible. In Earth's command center, Director Wells watched the Empire fleet retreat. "They'll talk about this day for generations," she said. "Yes," Admiral Stone agreed, "but not for the reason they think. This wasn't about showing our strength. It was about showing them a better way." As the Empire ships limped home, their crews shaken and their leaders humbled, Commander Gray received an unexpected transmission. It showed images of worlds the Empire had tried to conquer, each protected by the same quantum technology that had just defeated their fleet. "All this time," he muttered, "we thought we were the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. But we were just children playing with toys, while Earth quietly watched and protected others from our ignorance." Back on Earth, as the last Empire ship disappeared from their space, Admiral Stone looked at the final reports. "Send the signal to our protected worlds," he ordered. It's time they knew the truth about their guardian. Dr. Rivers nodded. "And the Empire?" "They'll be back," Stone said, "but not as conquerors. Next time, they'll come as students, ready to learn why true power isn't about control, it's about protection." The stars shone peacefully over Earth that night, as they had for countless nights before. But now the galaxy knew what humans had known all along. Sometimes the greatest strength lies not in the power to destroy, but in the wisdom to protect. Commander Gray stood before the Empire's inner council, his hand steady as he prepared to share what his investigation had uncovered. The room was packed with the most powerful beings in the galaxy, all still shaken from their defeat at Earth's hands. "What I'm about to show you will change everything we thought we knew," he began, activating the holographic display. "Earth hasn't just been stopping our expansion. They've been saving lives we didn't even know we were threatening." The display showed a beautiful green world. "Remember Colony Project 847? We classified it as a failed expedition. Equipment failure, we said." He paused, letting the image change to show Earth's quantum fields protecting the planet. "This is what really happened. Earth protected them. From us." Regent Walker, his uniform no longer as crisp as usual, leaned forward. "How many worlds?" "Hundreds," Commander Gray replied. "Every time we found a promising world to civilize, Earth was there first. Not to conquer, but to protect." Professor Green stepped forward, adding her findings to the display. "Look at these energy patterns," she said, showing overlapping fields of quantum protection. Earth created a network of defended worlds. But they didn't just protect them from us. They let them grow naturally, without interference. In the back of the room, representatives from various Empire worlds watched in growing anger. Their own histories began to make more sense, how the Empire had helped them advance, only to drain their resources and control their people. On Earth, Admiral Stone and his team monitored the Empire's growing internal crisis. Director Wells brought in the latest reports from their hidden observers. "The truth is spreading faster than we expected," she said. "3 major Empire worlds have already declared their independence. They're requesting our protection." Dr. Rivers looked up from his console. "Should we tell them about the others?" Admiral Stone nodded. "It's time." Across the galaxy, on worlds thought to be primitive or uninhabited, hidden quantum transmitters activated. Advanced civilizations that had grown under Earth's quiet protection revealed themselves. Each had developed along their own path, free from the Empire's standardized advancement program. In the Empire's council chamber, the revelations continued. Commander Gray showed recordings of Earth's ships secretly diverting Empire colonization fleets, preventing technological interference, and protecting developing civilizations. "We thought we were spreading civilization," he said, "but Earth saw what we couldn't or wouldn't. Every world deserves to find its own path." Professor Green added, "Their technology isn't just more advanced than ours. It's fundamentally different. They didn't build an empire. They built a sanctuary." Regent Walker, his face pale, watched as more worlds declared their independence. The Empire's grip on power weakened with each passing hour. "Why?" he finally asked. "Why didn't they stop us centuries ago? They clearly had the power." "Because," Commander Gray answered, "they wanted to give us a chance to learn, to grow, just like they did with all the worlds they protected." On one of Earth's hidden stations near the galactic core, Dr. Rivers activated a special transmission. Across the galaxy, quantum receivers hidden on hundreds of worlds activated. The message was simple. To all protected worlds, the time of hiding is over. You have grown in your own way, at your own pace. Earth stands ready to welcome you as equals, not subjects. In Earth's command center, Admiral Stone watched as centuries of planning came to fruition. "Send the final message to the Empire," he ordered. Director Wells nodded and transmitted. "Your empire was built on control. Ours was built on freedom. The choice is now yours. Continue your path alone, or join us in protecting those who need time to find their own way." As the message went out, the galaxy began to change. The Empire's perfect order crumbled, replaced by something older, wiser, and more natural, the right of every world to choose its own destiny. Earth had kept this truth hidden for centuries. Now, it would reshape the galaxy. 1 year had passed since Earth revealed its true role in the galaxy. The massive hall of the new Galactic Council looked very different from the old Empire's chamber. Representatives from hundreds of worlds sat together, each unique in their development and culture. No one wore Empire uniforms anymore. Commander Gray, now serving as the transition coordinator, stood at the center of the hall. "The last Empire stronghold surrendered yesterday," he announced. "The age of forced uniformity is over." In Earth's command center, Admiral Stone watched the proceedings through their quantum network. Director Wells stood beside him, reading reports from across the galaxy. 642 worlds have declared independence so far," she said. "Each one is choosing their own path forward. Some are forming local alliances. Others prefer to develop alone." Dr. Rivers added, "And the best part, they're all protecting younger civilizations they found. They're copying our model without us having to tell them. The main screen showed images from across the galaxy, former Empire worlds dismantling their forced labor factories, young civilizations making their first steps into space under the watchful protection of their neighbors, ancient cultures hidden for centuries under Earth's quantum shields, sharing their unique technologies with others. In the Galactic Council, Professor Green presented her latest findings. "We've confirmed that Earth's approach was right all along," she said. "When civilizations develop naturally, they create technologies we never imagined. The Empire's standardized development program actually held us back." The council members nodded. Many of them had discovered their own unique innovations since breaking free from Empire control. One world had mastered biological computers. Another had developed consciousness transfer. Each path was different, and each brought something new to the galaxy. A small ship arrived at Earth's main space station. It carried Regent Walker, no longer a ruler but a simple representative of his homeworld. Admiral Stone met him in person for the first time. "I still don't fully understand," Walker said, looking out at Earth through the station's window. "How did your people decide to become guardians instead of conquerors? The power you have, most would have used it differently." Admiral Stone smiled. "Centuries ago, when we first developed quantum field technology, we saw two possible futures. We could conquer, like the Empire did, and force everyone to be like us. Or we could protect, letting each world find its own way." He paused. "We chose protection because true strength isn't about controlling others. It's about helping them grow." Across the galaxy, the changes continued. The Empire's old military fleets were transformed into rescue and research vessels. Their weapon factories now produced quantum field generators to protect developing worlds. Former Empire officers worked alongside Earth's teams, learning to be guardians instead of conquerors. In Earth's command center, Director Wells brought one final report. "The last of the hidden civilizations has revealed itself," she said, "and they're already helping to protect two younger worlds they found." Dr. Rivers checked his quantum field readings. "The network is expanding faster than we expected. Soon, every developing civilization in the galaxy will have someone watching over them, giving them time to grow in their own way." Admiral Stone nodded, looking at the giant map showing all the protected worlds. "And that's how you build a truly strong galaxy," he said. "Not through force, but through freedom. Not through control, but through choice." The sun set over Earth's cities, just as it had for countless generations. But now, its light shone on a very different galaxy. The empire that once ruled through force was gone, replaced by a network of free worlds, each unique, each valuable, each contributing to a greater whole. Earth's ban against the Empire had done more than stop an invasion. It had awakened the galaxy to a fundamental truth. Real civilization isn't about ruling others, but about helping them rise. And in the darkness between the stars, countless young worlds took their first steps toward their own futures, watched over by those who had learned Earth's most important lesson. The greatest power isn't the ability to control, but the wisdom to protect. The end.